Hi everyone. So we are going to pick up with Romeo and Juliet right where we left off. So we're not even going to skip a beat. Um, we started reading Act 2, Scene 4 in class, and we didn't yet finish. So we pretty much covered how the entire scene was pretty funny. The boys are joking around. Romeo is being much more witty. Mercutio is fond of that. And he's like, isn't this much better than, being like a lovesick puppy and yada yada. Um, then the nurse comes on the scene, and we know that during the balcony scene, Romeo said to Juliet that he was going to send word around 9 o'clock. Okay, so the nurse is now coming to find out what's going on, whether or not they're going to be able to get married, and if so, when that will take place. Okay, so the nurse has been looking for Romeo, and now the tone of the scene is going to change a little bit. Okay, so the nurse says, and in your book, this is on page um, 50. Okay, now afore God, I am so vexed that every part of me quivers. Scurvy knave. She's yelling back to Mercutio, who had just obviously frustrated her and teased her a little bit. Then she turns to Romeo, and here's where we start to kind of change a little bit. She says, "Pray you, sir, a word. And, as I told you, my lady bid me inquire you out. What she bid me say I will keep to myself, but first let me tell you, if you should lead her in a fool's paradise, as they say, it were a very gross kind of behavior, as they say. For the gentlewoman is young, and therefore, if you should deal double with her, truly it were an ill thing to be offered to any gentlewoman, and very weak dealing." I think we may have covered this in class, but I just want to point out here, okay? She is curious about what his intentions are, and she warns him, if you should lead her into a fool's paradise, that is, if you are to mislead her and to do anything, that she would not be fond of, okay? She's kind of threatening him here. Um, and she just wants to find out what his intentions are. And so the response to the nurse here, Romeo says, is, "Nurse, commend me to my lady and mistress. I protest unto thee. Good heart, and in faith I will tell her as much. Lord, Lord, she will be a joyful woman." Romeo, what wilt thou tell her, nurse? Thou dost not mark me. I will tell her, sir, that you do protest, which, as I take it, is a gentlemanlike offer. So she is going to return to Juliet and basically tell Juliet that Romeo's intentions are pure and good. Romeo responds to this by saying, bid her bid her devise some means to come to shrift this afternoon. So earlier in the year, I wrote, or in the unit, I should say, I wrote shrift on the board, and I said that this is going to come up later. Shrift is confession. So Romeo is telling the nurse to tell Juliet that she needs to figure out a way to tell her parents to go to confession this afternoon. This would have allowed her to leave, as we talked about, right? Young women were less inclined to just be able to go out and do as they will. So she's going to tell her parents that she's going to confession this afternoon at Friar Lawrence's cell. Bid her devise some means to come to shrift this afternoon, and there she shall, at Friar Lawrence's cell, be shrived and marry. Here is for thy pains. And I'd imagine that he is handing her some money for, delivering this message, as it says, offering money. "No, truly, sir, not a penny. Go to, I say you shall." "This afternoon, sir? Well, she shall be there." Romeo, and stay, good nurse, behind the abbey wall. Within this hour my man shall be with thee, and bring thee cords made like a tackled stair, which to the high top gallant of my joy must be my convoy in the secret night. Okay, so here is kind of a part that I've read over, many, many years ago, but now I see that this is very important. So Romeo is telling the nurse to stay, okay, behind the abbey wall within the hour. Okay, my man shall be with thee and bring thee cords that will act as a staircase, okay, which to the high tap gallants of my joy may be my convoy in the secret night. Now, why would he need some type of staircase or let's say ladder to climb and ascend into Juliet's bedchamber? They have to consummate the marriage. Okay, and so he's already thinking this. Okay, that might come in handy later on if we have a discussion about what Romeo, why Romeo is expediting this marriage. Okay, farewell, he says, be trusty, and I'll quit thy pains. Farewell, commend me to thy mistress. The nurse says, now God in heaven bless thee. Hark you, sir. What sayest thou, my dear nurse? Is your man secret? Did you never hear say, two may keep counsel, putting one away? Warrant thee, my man's as true as steel. So she's worried about whether or not his messenger with the ladder is going to, um, you know, tell anybody about this. And Romeo says, don't worry, he is as true as steel. He won't tell anyone. And the nurse responds, well, sir, my mistress is the sweetest lady. Lord, Lord, when 'twas a prating little thing. Oh, there is a nobleman in town, one Paris, that would fain lay knife abroad, but she, good soul, had as lief see a toad, a very toad, as see him. I anger her sometimes and tell her that Paris is the properer man, but I'll warrant you, when I say so, she looks as pale as any clout in the verso world. Doth not Rosemary and Romeo begin with a letter? Okay, and so here, okay, the nurse is bringing up the fact that, remember, Paris, okay, is interested. And the nurse has told Juliet that he might be a better partner, but she is insisting on Romeo. I, nurse, what of that? Both with an R. Ah, mocker, that's a dog's name. R is for the... No, I know it begins with some other letter, and she hath the prettiest sententious of it, of you and Rosemary, that it would do you good to hear it. Romeo says, commend me to thy lady. Aye, 1,000 times. Peter! So she calls back for her servant, okay, Peter, anon, before and apace. And then they exit. And that is the end of scene 4. So we're moving a little bit more quickly to Friar Lawrence's cell, where at this point we now know that they will be shrived and married. Signing off. Bye.